Squirrel Gaming. So hello, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. You might be wondering, this is not Magic the Gathering Arena. No, this is MTG Goldfish. But we will be talking about a Magic the Gathering deck that we will be able to play very soon in Standard. It is currently the 14th of January, and I think it comes out on the 16th. So in just 2 days, we'll be ready to play this deck, which I am calling Orzhov Doom. And I'm going to talk you through it. My name is Chris, by the way. I didn't say that. But I'm going to be talking through this deck today. So, what's the deck? Well, basically, it's a Doom Foretold deck. One of my favorite cards from Throne of Eldraine. A great card. I love the effect that it has in basically just stalling out the game and basically just buying time. And yeah, I love it. And so let's go through, and we got a lot of new toys for this. We don't have to play Golden Egg or Guild Globe anymore. Those useless 2-mana cards that just were there to draw a card. Don't have to play them anymore because we got better cards to play. So let's go through the deck. And the first one, the big one, is Ephemia the Cacophony, which is a 2-mana 2/1 flying. That at the beginning of your end step, you may exile an enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature. Now, enchantment cards, will we have them in the graveyard? Yes, because we'll be sacking them with Doom Foretold. So there'll be plenty in there. So there's plenty of chances to get a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And before I go into it chronologically, as it says here, this goes out really well with, where is it? Tyrant Calls the Dead, which if you haven't seen this card, it's basically you put cards into your graveyard from your library and then exile a creature or enchantment. And if you do, you create a zombie token for the first 2 turns. But then for the 3rd turn, you gain X life, scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. So if we're already making zombies with Ephemia, I think it's called, and this is obviously going to let us create more zombies as well. And then Liliana also creates more zombies. So we've got a kind of zombie sub-theme going on in this deck, as well as these great creatures. So Ephemia is something that I'm really excited to play for, and I think fits really well within this deck. We go through, we got Murder Strider, obviously great single target removal, doubles down as a creature later on if we've got nothing to play, and can be sacked to Doom Foretold. It's not that big of a deal if we lose Murder Strider. Liliana is our big finisher essentially, and a different way of winning the game. Obviously she creates a number of zombies. We get cards when she dies. I'm sure you've all played against Liliana. Just a good card, good way, a good finisher for this deck. Eat to Extinction, a new card coming in Theros, that essentially is Vraska's Contempt without the life gain, and instead is Surveil. Vraska's Contempt saw a lot of play. This will see a lot of play, I have no doubt, because it's a nice flexible removal piece that exiles as well, which is important for the new set. Kaya's Wrath, we don't have to bother with the new 4-mana white board wipe or Ritual of Soot, because Kaya's Wrath is the best of them. The only part that's not good about it is its cost, but because we're in Orzhov anyway, the cost is no real problem to us. We should be able to find white, black on turn 4 most of the time. So that's not an issue, and so we might as well play the best board wipe there is. You will need a board wipe from time to time against this, especially against aggro. The problem with Doom Foretold decks before was the fact that we didn't have any early game removal if they went full aggro and we were going second. You know, on turn 2 we're playing a Guild Globe and they're already hitting us for 5, 6. You know, we're just wasting our time. But with this deck instead, now we've got a blocker there, we've got Deadweight in there as well. I've put in the Birth of Meletis, I think. Meletis. So we should be a bit more solid there. Moving on, but maybe still a bit vulnerable to aggro in case. Obviously, this is a theory deck that no one has played with yet outside of the test team for Magic. So we don't know if this might need to be tweaked. I'm sure it will. But this is just a concept deck for now. Enchantments. 2 Deadweights. I've put them in again to deal with the early aggro because I think that's our biggest weakness in this deck. This doubles up actually in an interesting way in the fact that even if we don't kill the thing, say we put it on a Gruul Spellbreaker for instance, a Gruul Spellbreaker. We turn it into a 2/2, so it becomes less of a threat. And then we get Doom Foretold down. We can actually sack that deadweight anyway, and say they've only got that Gruul Spellbreaker on their field, and we don't have anything else to sack but the deadweight. Well, we can sack the deadweight, take more damage, but then they have to sack the Gruul Spellbreaker, and that's good for us. The Birth of Meletis, as I say. Why is this in here? Well, the first one fixes your mana, so you're only on 2 lands. Well, now you're guaranteed a third one. Then it creates a wall for us, obviously, which stalls them out. It is a token, so we can't sack it to Doom Foretold, but it does give us a big wall to stop them. And then we gain 2 life, which again is good for this deck to survive any aggro. Elspeth's Nightmare, a 3-mana saga, again from Theros, which we can destroy a creature, again dealing with aggro, 2 power or less. I'm thinking Stormfist Crusader is a good target for this. Then we can reveal their hand and discard a card from them. This one is, that second ability deals with control maybe, but they'll, obviously the fact that it's the second of a saga, they know to just get rid of their hand, anything they want. And then we exile their graveyard, which could be important with the upcoming set. Obviously, escape being a major part of the set, we can hopefully get rid of whatever they're trying to escape. So we got 2 of them, and the good thing about these is they're not high power cards. So if we play them into Doom Foretold, we can sack them if we need to. Like, say we don't need to exile. So we don't need to exile the opponent's graveyard, then obviously we can just sack this instead if it's not important to exile the opponent's graveyard. 4 for the Kaya, again, just a great card, and I think is an obvious inclusion in this deck, because once it's down and it's done its thing, it's done its damage, you gain the life, then it's not doing much, it's just sitting there, so you might as well sacrifice it. So a great one. Treacherous Blessing, what a card this is. Excuse me. What a card this is. This card could not be any better for this deck, for this whole thing. We draw 3 cards straight away, and then hopefully we'll have Doom Foretold down, we'll lose 1 life, we'll sack it straight away, and we just drew 3 cards for 3 and just sacked it and lost 1 life. Like, that's an amazing payoff for us to be able to do that. This is a great sack target, and then using things like Ephemia or Tyrannek Calls the Dead, we can then get a zombie from it as well. Great card to have. So Tyrannek Calls the Dead. Well, this again, as I mentioned before, is just a good card in this deck. We're gonna have enchantments and creatures in the top 3 cards of our library, so I imagine that we'll be able to get a 2/2 creature zombie, and all of this just is stopping them from really... It's stopping us getting out aggroed. We can't be out aggroed, and maybe we need to cut down on the Kaya's Wrath, because it just looks like we're just creating creatures all the time, which was a real problem before when you're playing Guild Globe and Golden Eggs, that they were just drawing you a card, they weren't really doing anything. But now we've got all these answers to add to it, and you might wonder why I'm not playing Esper. Is an Esper variant better than this one with Dance of the Manse perhaps? Maybe, but I really don't like Esper. I don't like Teferi. I understand we're getting the temple lands for all the colours now, so it'll be easier to play 3 colours, but I still don't think, it's not, they're not the check lands. The scry lands aren't the check lands. I think the scry lands are balanced. I think they are correct. I think that they should probably stay as the staple lands, the staple rare lands forever. I think that they're the most balanced, that playing 2 colours should cost you something, and the shock and check lands, 2 life is nothing. The check lands don't cost you anything at all, they're just perfect. So I think that that's what it should be, that you should have the scry lands that force you to tap, but you get to scry, so you get an upside, but there's a downside as well. And so I don't think, we'll have to see how it works out, but I think Esper might... What do they get? They get to Fairy, you get down to the Manse. But I don't think this deck needs to win a Down to the Manse way, because I think Doom Foretold on its own wins games on its own if you can just stall them out, just get rid of anything they've got. You know, we're sacrificing things that we don't care that much about. They're sacrificing things, and we get to choose. You know, if we want to sacrifice Doom Foretold, obviously we know a hand, we get to choose. They don't get to choose. And then lands, we got 24 lands. Temples, the shrines, 2 Verbal Passages. I've gone 8 swamps, 6 plains, just because of our mostly black. That might even be 9/5 even. But yeah, this is a really cool deck. If I were to have a sideboard, which I didn't deal with yet, because obviously sideboards are to do with meta, and we don't know what the meta will be. But I expect Embercleave will still be good. So you'd probably want maybe Despark or something to deal with Embercleave, or some artifact removal perhaps. So you probably want something to deal with Embercleave. Honestly, I don't think enchantments, because there will be enchantment removal everywhere. I'm guessing Fires of Invention might actually take a step back, just because everyone will be running enchantment removal, which perhaps is a downside of this deck as well. But we got so many that I don't think it is the biggest problem, and I just think we're well positioned to answer whatever they've got. You know, Planeswalkers don't do well against Doom Foretold. Against hard control, we could maybe struggle, but no one plays hard control because of Teferi. You know, Teferi stops counterspells, so why would you ever run counterspells? Because if the meta ever became counterspells, it would quickly not become counterspells because Teferi would ruin it. So I'm not worried about counterspells as much. Simic Flash could be a problem, and that probably will be a very good deck, but I think, again, we've got enough early game answers perhaps to stop any early threat, and as the game goes on, you know, if we resolve a Doom Foretold, I think they're in trouble. They have to start sacrificing stuff, and they normally don't go for too wide of a board. Really, I think going wide would be probably the best answer against this kind of deck that is realistic for the next meta. But I think Kaya's Wrath, that's why it's in there. They just deal with boards that you can't deal with. And so, see how our curve isn't too high. It's mostly 3-4, and then Liliana at the very top. So it shouldn't be too hard to cast anything. We've got really good cards. I think this will be a really fun deck to play. Pure Orzhov, pure sacrifice your stuff. And yeah, is there a better version of this? There might be an Abzan version of this with green. Maybe plays some of their enchantments. Maybe plays the new Planeswalker, whose name I don't remember. But I think this is going to be such a fun deck. And it's got answers, and it's, even though it's playing, you know, low power cards, Birth of Meletis isn't a high power card at all. Really, you know, the 3 things it does, fix your land, you get a wall, you gain 2 life. None of those things are really doing a lot, but that's the thing. It doesn't do that much. Same with Elspeth's Nightmare. Say they don't have any cards in hand, and we've got Doom Foretold down. Well, then we just sacrifice it because we don't need it. And so I think this deck is well positioned. I think it can deal with a variety of threats. I think it can deal with aggro now. I think it can deal, you know, we might want to play Cry of the Carnarium instead of Kaya's Wrath. That is a possibility, and one that I did consider. Right now, though, I'm not too sure, because obviously, again, we don't know exactly what will be played in the new meta. We got Daxos and the other one, I can't remember his name, but the black version of that as well, and where Cry of the Carnarium wouldn't kill them probably. Actually, would it kill them if it killed everything else? I think it would. Would it? I think it would. Maybe we should play it. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But this is the deck that I'm going to be playing with on the 16th in Arena. And yeah, have a nice day. My name's been Chris. This has been a little Theros Beyond Death preview. Doom Foretold, Orzhov, Doom.